We need a toolbox to help us navigate this messy world. And we need a toolbox now more than ever because we're struggling with our mental health. And when we take care of ourselves, it's easier for us to take care of our children. And when we feel good, it's easier to do good. And while the expectation is not to feel good every day and all the time, because that shit just feels impossible at this point. That ain't the goal, honey. The goal is not to feel good all the time or to be happy all the time. That's not what it means to be a human being. But it is to use our tools to help us regulate and manage the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows, and be okay no matter what. Be okay no matter what. That is what I am here to help you do.
Hey, I'm Brooke Jean, therapist, recovering perfectionist, and struggling working mom on a mission to normalize normal. If you're an overwhelmed, high-achieving, and secretly anxious mama, struggling to balance it all and on the brink of burnout, you are in the right place. Here is where we talk about hard things like balancing work and family life, mental health, and how to navigate life-altering transitions. Nothing is too taboo here. In my conversations, I'll teach you how to let go of who you think you're supposed to be in order to create the life you've always wanted. Get ready to embrace your messy, shed the shoulds, and find freedom through a life unperfected. This is the Unperfected Pod.
Welcome back to the Unperfected Pod, where we normalize normal and find freedom through a life unperfected. What is up, you guys? This is Brooke Jean, your host and fellow struggling working mom, and I am here today to share all things in my mental health toolbox. What I, as a therapist, as a coach, as a mom, as a human just navigating this messy life just like the rest of you, what am I leaning on to help me navigate, to help me feel better or okay, to help my mental health overall? So let's get into it. A mental health toolbox. You might be asking, what the heck is that? What even is a toolbox? So let's just start right there. A toolbox is a list of tools that you can call on proactively to take care of yourself, to help yourself feel better, and also reactively you can call on and pull out and use. In the last episode that I just released, I believe it was 21, I talked about triggers. How did that one land on you guys? I talked all about what is a trigger, how do we know when we're triggered, what is happening in the brain and body, and what can we do about it. And I'm sure I mentioned tools. And so this is an extension of that conversation, but also just something that I'm living and breathing and practicing every single day in my life, but also teaching and sharing with my clients, because life is hard, life is messy, and we need a list of tools that are on the ready, on standby, ready for us to reach into our back pocket, grab one, and help us get through the day, the moment, whatever it is. And so, I personally love to have people write these things out, right? So in your journal or in your notebook or in a note on your phone, somewhere that's easily accessible is key, because a lot of times when we most need our tools, we don't really have the mental capacity to go searching for the list, right? We're not going to do that. So when you think about where can I write this toolkit out, be thinking about where is it going to be accessible to me? I need to be able to see it in the moment when I need it most. So whether that's in your journal or your planner or a note in your phone, or you put it on your fridge or you put it in your nightstand, literally get out a sheet of paper or a new note and write my mental health toolkit at the top. And I want you to start listing out your go-to favorite tools that I'm teaching you on this podcast, that you've maybe learned about on Instagram, or your therapist taught you about, or your neighbor told you about. Whatever it is, start building out a list. And you're going to start playing with these tools, and you will discover some that really work for you and become your go-tos and your favorites, some that you really want to ritualize and ensure that you're using every day, and some that don't do much for you, and those can fall off the list. Every single person is different. So I'm going to share with you guys today what's in my mental health toolkit currently, or toolbox. I'm going to use toolkit and toolbox interchangeably. So they're the same damn thing. Okay? You with me? But I'm going to share what's in my toolbox currently, because these are things that I have tried and work for me. But it's okay if they don't all work for you and you have different ones lined up or other things that you want to try. The beauty is getting in the habit of trying things, trying them long enough to see if they're any benefit to you, and updating that list, but using the list to help you. So a toolbox is simply a set of tools that you can use to help you with your mental health. Now, why is it important that we have a toolbox? Well, basically because life is effing hard, okay? That, if I haven't made that clear already, let's go ahead and say that again out loud and normalize it. Life is hard, life is messy. Being a mom is the hardest job we're ever gonna do. Managing being a mom and all the other things that you do is also really hard. The other thing that's hard is the mental health impact coming out of the pandemic. We have seen increases in every single mental health condition, basically, across the board since the pandemic, okay? People have been struggling more so than ever with depression, with anxiety, with PTSD, all of these things. And moms really took a hit, okay? I shared something on my Instagram story yesterday from the Motherboard Society. They're a great community to be following and participating in. But I think the statistics said that mothers are 75% more likely to experience a mental health condition. And I believe that to be true, and I believe it might even be more than that. So my whole purpose and mission in doing this work is that I have just been observing this rise in expectation on the modern day mom parallel a rise in her mental health conditions. And something's got to give. And that's why I created this podcast. That's why I do the work that I do in the world, because moms need help, moms need support, and we're the ones raising the babies, and we're the ones that can impact the future generations to come. And we have more influence in our homes and in our communities and in our neighborhoods and in the world than we realize. So I need mamas healing. I need mamas taking care of themselves. I need mamas breaking free of the conditioning that told them to put themselves last, because that's burying us. And honey, we have work to do. So all that to say is we need a mental health toolbox, because we're not doing great statistically in our mental health, and not even just statistically, anecdotally, okay? Talk to your friends, talk to your neighborhood moms, talk to your sisters, talk to your own mother. We're struggling. The anxiety is off the charts, right? The fear, the scary thoughts, the dysregulated nervous systems, the anger, the resentment, the depression, the trauma's being triggered, the grief is being triggered. So listen to me, honey. First of all, you're not alone if you're struggling. We need to start saying it out loud. We're struggling, and we need to not judge ourselves or each other. You know what? I struggle with depression. It doesn't make me a bad mom. It means I have a thing that is important to focus on and work on, because it is always going to come back in certain stages. And it deserves attention. It deserves love. It deserves compassion. It deserves treatment. It deserves a toolbox. So we need a toolbox because we're struggling, okay? And if you're with me, you understand what I'm saying. And, you know, a mother's regulated nervous system is becoming the game changer. And I am learning more and more about that right now through the books that I'm reading and the programs that I'm buying and the podcasts that I'm listening to. And so we've got to do our work, mamas, because when we are regulated and present, first of all, it's more likely that we can act in alignment with who we really are, not from a triggered place. And we also can access the deeper parts of ourselves, whether it be a deeper part of our brain where more of our creative ideas can live, or our intuition, or any guidance, you know, of our own spiritual understanding. But a lot of amazing things can happen, and we can access this stuff when we have a regulated nervous system. And so a lot of the things that I do every day and that are in my toolbox are to help me regulate, because I can wake up dysregulated. I can wake up in the middle of the night dysregulated. I can get easily triggered and dysregulated throughout the day. I definitely get easily overwhelmed, all those things. And so I have a real commitment and intention around regulating my nervous system so I can manage the anxiety, the depression, all of the stimuli coming at me, all of the demands and the needs coming at me, and also so I can live into my purpose and potential, so I can show up and do the things in life that matter, like be a mom, like be a good therapist, like help mamas heal and things like that. And so that's why it's important. The other thing is, when we heal as mothers, when we regulate our nervous systems, when we take care of ourselves, not only do we send a message to ourselves and all of our parts that we matter, but we also send a message to the universe that we matter. And energetically, the universe will give us things, people, places, experiences that match that energetically. And when we heal, we give our kids a chance to have a more regulated nervous system or have less trauma, right? None of us are getting out of this life unscathed. Let me just tell you that. But when we choose to heal, mama, we are breaking generational cycles of trauma. We are breaking generational and individual toxic patterns. Therefore, when we heal, we are healing our lineage, and we are setting up a better future for future generations to come. And if you believe in energy like I do, we are lifting the vibration of the planet. Okay, you doing your work and healing yourself and taking care of yourself and regulating your nervous system, that has a ripple effect that is effing massive. And that's not to put pressure on you, babe. Don't get my words twisted like I'm putting pressure on you. I'm saying every little thing that you do to take care of yourself matters. And there is a ripple effect, and I'm proud of you. Go off, girl. So we need a toolbox to help us navigate this messy world. And we need a toolbox now more than ever because we're struggling with our mental health. And when we take care of ourselves, it's easier for us to take care of our children. And when we feel good, it's easier to do good. And while the expectation is not to feel good every day and all the time, because that shit just feels impossible at this point. That ain't the goal, honey. The goal is not to feel good all the time or to be happy all the time. That's not what it means to be a human being. But it is to use our tools to help us regulate and manage the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows, and be okay no matter what. Be okay no matter what. That is what I am here to help you do. So let's get into it. What the heck is in my toolbox right now? What are my go-to tools that I live and breathe every single day? The first one, you guys hear me preach about this shit all day long, all the time. It's my morning ritual. The morning ritual has changed my life in such impactful ways. Do I do my morning ritual every single morning? No, I don't. Do I do the full morning ritual every single day? No, I don't. But I do my best, and I do it as much as I can and as often as I can, and I get the juicy benefits, so I crave it. But again, we're not about perfection here, friends. We're about intention. So if all the stars align and I get up earlier than my family, I warm up my hot lemon water. While the hot lemon water cools down, I do a 10-minute meditation. Now, here's where I start to choose my own adventure, because I've done a morning ritual for years now, and it was simply hot lemon water, meditation, and then journaling, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. Because I've done it long enough and it's stuck and I crave it and I love it, now I've started layering in more things to the morning ritual, and I can choose my own adventure. If you're a beginner, honey, just do 2 minutes of meditation and 2 minutes of journaling, like 1 minute of being outside looking at the sun or whatever. So start small. But you have to remember, I've been doing this shit for years. I've been building out this morning ritual. So I have added to it and expanded upon it. So in the meditation part, I look at what I might be needing that day. If I'm feeling good If I'm feeling inspired, if I'm feeling connected, I'm going to do more of a visualization where I visualize myself like in the light that I want to live in, feeling my best, having the life that I've always dreamed of, doing the things I've always wanted to do. I do visualizing. I'm manifesting. I am creating an image in my mind's eye of who I want to be, where I want to be, and how it feels when I get there. And I get emotionally attached to that image. But other times, honey, I don't feel motivated to do that. I don't feel inspired. I'm struggling. So that's where I might do more of a grounding meditation. Or if there's been a lot going on energetically, and there has been nonstop, it feels like, for the last 3 years. But also if I have a lot going on in my life or in my clients, or if I've just been absorbing a lot of energy, I'll do more of an energy clearing and energy cleansing meditation. So I get my hot lemon water. While it's cooling down, I start doing a meditation, but I choose my own adventure based on my needs. And guess why that's beautiful? Because I've had to learn to check in on myself to see what I need. And checking in on myself is also part of self-care, self-respect, self-love, self-worth. What's going on for me today? How am I feeling? I have to turn my attention inward to scan that shit, to figure it out. And then I listen to what my body tells me I need. And then I take action and give myself what I need. Do you see how beautiful that is? What am I needing? And then doing it. You know, the brain and the body is keeping the score. They're recording that information. Your inner child is paying attention. And then that omits things energetically. So it's really powerful to ask yourself what you need, to turn your attention inward, to scan your body, to listen, and then to take action and take care of yourself and give yourself what you need. That whole process in and of itself is therapeutic, is healing, and energetically is beautiful, sends the right message to the universe that, honey, I matter. So go ahead and start sending me shit that mirrors that. Okay? So I choose my own adventure for the meditation. Sometimes now that it's summer, I've been doing that outside so I can get my indirect sunlight into my eyes. So this is another thing that's part of my morning ritual, is getting my indirect sunlight in my eyes. If you do that within the first hour that you wake up, it basically starts regulating your circadian rhythm. It starts telling your brain and body it's wake up time, which will then help you at night to sleep because it's sleep time. So when you wake up and you get some indirect sunlight in your eyes for 10 or 20 minutes before, the day really gets in, you're going to help yourself wake up and then sleep at night. Okay, the Huberman podcast has a lot of great episodes breaking down the science of this, but I've definitely noticed a difference in my life since making this a priority. So sometimes I'll do my meditation outside and leave my eyes a little bit open to get that indirect sunlight. So then after that is the journaling or the creating, depending on what I need. And I can also, if I didn't do my meditation outside, I can put on some beautiful binaural music, and go outside and listen to my music and journal in the sun and get that indirect sunlight. Or I can do it inside. Again, I'm always paying attention to what I need. Most days I do want to be outside. Some days I don't. It just depends. Maybe, on Tuesdays, there's a crew that shows up and does all of the landscaping. And we have a big park in front of our house. And so if those guys are already working, I might not want to be out there doing my journaling or my meditation. So anyways, whatever it is that I need. And so with the journaling, I also did a podcast episode all about the benefits of journaling and how I journal and the questions I ask. So if you want to start a journaling practice, go back and listen to that episode because I really get in the nitty gritty of how I leverage the process of journaling and how powerful it can be. But if I'm in one of those energetic spaces where I'm inspired and I'm fired up and I did a visualization, sometimes a lot of downloads will come through, which are ideas for my business or ideas for a blog or a Facebook Live. Shit, I don't think I've done one of those in years. A TikTok or an Instagram Live, but an idea will usually come through. And so sometimes I use that space to just get the idea onto paper. Because if I don't, I might lose it. And what's cool is meditation and this whole process has been one of the most instrumental vehicles for my business development and growth. It's where I access all the ideas. But it's not always in a seated meditation. Sometimes it's in a walking meditation out in nature. So if I'm like hiking or whatever, sometimes I get some really good ideas there. But the point is that when you slow down and you regulate your nervous system in a meditation, all of a sudden ideas start flooding in. So use that to your advantage, my loves. I don't need to figure things out. I can just wait and ideas come. And I trust that they're the right ones for me. So the other thing, the last thing that I've layered into my morning ritual, I know this probably sounds like a lot. You might even be tired just listening to this already. But I want you to know that start with one thing and build up. But I'm really trying to help myself, you guys. And so the other thing that I've been adding into my morning ritual is vagus nerve conditioning and toning. So we know that the vagus nerve is a really important part of the body. It runs from the head all the way down to your gut. It's how our amygdala communicates to our nervous system how we should respond to things. And because of our posture and our bad habits and our lifestyle, we've really done some damage to the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve is often misfiring fight, flight, freeze, or fawn responses. So we really want that vagus nerve as healthy as possible. So I bought this course that taught me all these little stretches and movements and exercises that I can do. They're very gentle. They're really just like conscious movement that I can do to get muscles off my vagus nerve and start stimulating it and conditioning it in the right ways. So I've been doing a little bit of that in my morning ritual as well because I'm really trying to tone that vagus nerve up to make sure that puppy is working the way she's fucking supposed to. Because the last thing I need when I'm already overstimulated easily, when I'm already easily triggered, is a vagus nerve that's not working properly. Okay? So get your vagus nerve right and tight, baby, and watch it help your mental health big time. So that's my morning ritual. I know that seems extensive. Like I said before, do I do it all every time? No. That is a perfect ideal morning. Do my mornings normally go perfect? No, they don't. But most of the time, I will get that hot lemon water, that meditation, and that journaling. And everything else, the sunlight is just automatically integrated in. But the exercises for the vagus nerve toning, those are when I really have a full time to do my full morning ritual. All of that I can do in 30 minutes, but I prefer taking 45 minutes to an hour. So I can do that from 6 to 7, then I can start getting ready for the day at 7 or whatever that looks like. Every morning is a little bit different around here, especially in summertime. But hear me when I say this and write this shit down. How you start your day sets the tone for your day, my love. So when I start my day like that, I feel like I have already literally killed it and deserve a massive reward and by 8 a.m. And that helps me catapult forward for the rest of the day. Here is what else is in my toolbox right now. So that's how I start my day. But then I also take mini breaks and mini pauses throughout the day. So that can look as simple as when I run to the restroom, I make sure that I'm doing deep belly breathing. When I leave my office here, after seeing clients, I do a little energy cleansing. I eat my lunch. I take little walks. I might go upstairs and stretch for a little bit. As I get in the car to go take my daughter somewhere, I might pause for just 1 minute and put my hands on the steering wheel and take 3 deep breaths in. But I'm doing these like daily sips of self-care that are helping me breathe, that are helping me ground, that are helping me resource. And they add up throughout the day. what happens is all too often, we can start our day great. We can start our day on the right foot, and then the stressors start piling up and the stimulation starts adding up. And before you know it, you've not cut off your own circulation. You're not even taking a full breath in. You're not getting any blood flow to your brain. And we start feeling like crap, right? It adds up pretty quick, doesn't it? So whether you're in between meetings, in between clients, in between tasks in the car, running from room to room, I want you taking these mini pauses, these daily sips of self-care to ground and regulate your nervous system. Number 3 is I like to get a walk in every single day. Okay, walks are crucial for my mental health. Point blank, period. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, sweetheart. We're talking a 20 to 40, maybe I'll do a 60-minute if it's a real juicy day, but a 20 to 40-minute walk. Getting outside, getting my body moving, hearing the birds chirp, seeing the blue skies, maybe listening to a podcast or music, or again, bilateral music is huge. If you're feeling dysregulated, get your fanny outside and walk and listen into binaural or bilateral music. That is going to force your brain to release calming hormones that will absolutely help you regulate. And the combination of the bilateral music and the movement and nature being outside are absolutely going to help you. But whether my walk happens during the day or when I'm on a call with a client or at night during my special time, which we'll get to here in a minute, a walk is essential for me. But any sort of movement is beautiful. I also love to dance. I like to be out in nature. Right now I'm doing a lot of swimming with my daughter, but movement. We have to move the stress out of our body. Okay, all we need is 20 minutes of exercise to complete our stress cycle each day. Do it. Number 4 is lots of water. I hydrate. I am passionate about water. I believe water cures all. I don't know why, but I definitely drink half my body weight in ounces of water, and I've been adding electrolytes lately. So first thing in the day, before I even have my hot lemon water, I'm going to drink the rest of the water that I took to bed last night. And that's just going to flush everything out. Then I layer in the hot lemon water. And then from the rest of the day, I am just going to be filling these things up over and over and over again. Taking a sip right now and drinking my water. We got to stay hydrated. We got to flush out the toxins. We got to loosen some things up, don't we? From a supplement standpoint, I've been playing around with supplements. I'm not a go hard for supplements. I know there's a lot of people who are, and I'm not dissing it or dogging it or advocating for it. I'm just curious about it right now because as I've been sharing with you guys, turning 42 and just managing all the things, my energy I don't have a lot. Okay, I'm tired, I'm fatigued. And so I'm really looking at what are some lifestyle choices I can make that are going to help nourish my body, that are going to help me with this lack of energy that I'm feeling. And so I love the brand Symbiotica. I think that they create very clean and organic and mindful products. And they have like a combo, a brain boosting combo where you take this thing called Golden Mind in the morning and magnesium at night. Magnesium, guys, is really, really important, especially for sleep and mental health. And so I've been on this regimen where I take the Golden Mind in the morning and the magnesium at night, and I've been sleeping pretty darn good lately. I didn't sleep great last night, but again, every day isn't perfect. Let me just tell you that. But I noticed after about 2 weeks in of taking the magnesium, and they're not in pill form, they're in this like syrup that tastes good, which also helps because the last thing I want to do, honey, is choke down another fucking horse pill. I don't know about you, but I'm over the horse pills. And I'm over like the burping up whatever the shitty flavor of the shitty shit is. Also not into that. That shit's not good for my mental health. This stuff is like a little pouch. You eat it, you squeeze it, it tastes good. And after 2 weeks, I did notice it was really helping me get back into good sleep patterns and sleep rhythms because sleep, honey, sleep is in your toolbox. If we're not sleeping, our mental health is suffering. Now, if you have a baby, I understand there's some things that are fully out of our control. And also our kids, when they're not babies, they wake up and they come in our room. So our sleep, the second we become pregnant for the rest of our lives, is messed with. Let's just call a spade a spade. However, we need to do what we can with what we can to help ourselves get the best rest and the best sleep we can within these circumstances. Okay? If I don't sleep for 3 days, I'm just going to tell you I'm crying and I can't function and I don't even know what the problem is. Other than my depression is back because I haven't slept for 3 days. Sleep is essential. Magnesium helps, movement helps, doing things to help regulate my nervous system and not getting too worked up helps. There's a lot that I do to help my sleep, but I just wanted to share the magnesium thing because it actually is helping me. And again, guys, I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor. These are just things that are helping me right now, and I want to share. I'm on this journey with you guys. Another thing that's in my toolbox is yoga nidra. I've shared this with y'all before. Yoga nidra is a waking meditation that you just lay the fuck down and you listen to it. They guide you to pay attention to all these body parts, and that brain mapping does wonders. And one yoga nidra practice is equivalent to 3 hours of your most restful sleep. So I do a yoga nidra in the afternoon. That's my afternoon pick-me-up, right? Instead of a coffee or a bunch of sugar, which if we need to do that, whatever, no judgment here. But I'll go upstairs and I'll do a 10 or 20 minute yoga nidra. And it will rest my brain, rest my body, regulate my nervous system in a way that recharges me for what I call second shift. Because we are working second and third shift around here as moms, aren't we? So my go-to favorite yoga nidra is on the Mindful Mamas app. It's just a 10-minute one. I absolutely adore the Mindful Mamas app, but I also love the free one on Insight Timer. There's a bunch of different yoga nidras. You just search yoga nidra. But let me be clear. Yoga nidra is not like when you think about yoga, the moving yoga. You literally lay down and you just listen to a meditation, and it gives you this really deep rest. And so I use that daily, and that saved my life when Chloe was a baby and we weren't sleeping at all. It was like the sleep was always bad at night, but I always did my yoga nidra for 10 minutes or 20 minutes when she was taking a nap. And that literally helped me get through that really hard time. So if you haven't played around with yoga nidra yet, guys, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Number 7, me time from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. every time. Every day. So this 6:30 to 7:30, the whole family just knows that mom is doing something for herself. This is when I take a walk if I haven't had a walk in the day, or this is when I take a bath. Now that it's summer and it's a little bit warmer outside, I'm not loving the bath as much as I normally do. A hot bath is definitely going to regulate your nervous system unless baths are triggering or gross to you. But if you're feeling dysregulated, throw yourself in a hot bath. It will bring you down. So anyways, this is my time. It's like I make dinner, we get through that, and then I'm like, peace out. And my husband just knows to step up. He knows that that's his time to play with Chloe, and I go do something for myself. And so my morning ritual is a pocket for me to be with myself. My afternoon yoga nidra is a pocket. And then this evening time is a ritual for me. And so it doesn't really matter how hard the day gets. I know I have a pocket somewhere, for God's sakes, Billy, somewhere for me to look forward to. And again, do I get all 3 every single day? Not usually. Some days I do, and I work toward that. But it's like if I couldn't do the morning ritual, then I'm going to get to the yoga nidra. And if I couldn't do that, then I have that 6:30 to 7:30 time for me. And guys, having something to look forward to every single day that you know is going to be a break, that is critical for your mental health. Just knowing we have something to look forward to. So a lot of those neurotransmitters that dump hormones that feel good, like dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, endorphins, all that, those will dump and release in the anticipation of the reward. So we don't even have to get to the damn yoga nidra. We can just Anticipate it, and we're going to get a little dump of dopamine. We don't even have to do the walk yet. The anticipation of the walk is going to dump the dopamine or whatever. So that is why, from a neuroscience standpoint, it's so important to have things on your calendar to look forward to, big and small, because the anticipation of dumps these feel-good hormones, but also makes us feel like we have light at the end of the tunnel. And sometimes waiting till all the kids are asleep is just too far away, honey, isn't it? So we have our morning ritual, we have our half-day ritual, we have our evening ritual, and then we have when everyone goes to bed. And do you see how over time that might help you feel a little bit better? That might create some space in your life. That might actually help you regulate. That might actually help you be present. That might actually help you. But here's what moms often do, so please don't fall into this trap. When you schedule these moments for yourself, that's not the time to get caught up on all the to-dos. The list is never going to be caught up, friends. Let's just lean towards radical acceptance of that right here, right now. There's always going to be stuff left undone. There's always going to be things on the list. Use this time for you to rest, to regulate, to tend to your mental and emotional well-being. We don't need to do more shit. We need to be more balanced. So, I'm helping you create these pockets, these sips of self-care, these moments that you can grab a tool out of your toolbox to help your mental and emotional health. Use them. Grab one or two and start playing with it. Number 8, a big part of my mental health is feeling like I am contributing, feeling like I have meaning and purpose to my life. And so I do things every day to help me stay inspired and motivated and connected to that meaning and that purpose. So that can look like listening to a podcast. Right now, I just invested in a training for IFS therapy, internal family systems, and I'm taking a deeper dive learning about parts, right? I bought that daily OM course to learn about the vagus nerve stretching. Like, I'm always investing in my development and learning from others to help me remain inspired, connecting with like-minded individuals, having a group of women who also are working moms and going through things. I get together with my girls. Just today, I'm going to have lunch with a fellow working mom. She kicks ass, but we also tell our dirty, dark secrets to each other, and we also hold each other accountable, and we're also really there for one another. These are the things that help me stay connected to something outside of myself that's bigger than myself, the work, the meaning, the purpose, the contribution. You know, my core values are purpose, pleasure, and playfulness. So I have got to be doing things that connect me to that purpose in order for me to feel like myself, in order for me to feel like I'm okay. So that one might not resonate for you, and that's okay. You're not doing life wrong. It's just, for me, purpose is everything. So if I'm not growing, if I'm not learning things that are new, if I'm not sharpening my tools in my tool belt so I can do meaningful work in the world and be the human and the mom and the wife and the person and the therapist I want to be, I start to get upset. I start to feel like I'm falling behind. I start to feel like I'm not living up to the standard I have for myself, which is not an unrealistic, gross one anymore, guys. But it's important too that I live with intention and in alignment with who I'm trying to become. So I make sure that there's space in my week for me to be learning, for me to be growing and developing and connected to something, whether it's a sisterhood or a topic I'm passionate about or the growth personally or professionally. Speaking of personal work, number 9 is I'm doing some deep subconscious reprogramming right now. And I do that through meditation and mantras and affirmations and journaling, but I also am a member of To Be Magnetic. And if you haven't already, I love the expanded podcast, But To Be Magnetic is just basically a community and a method of manifesting that is much deeper than just thinking positive thoughts. Because listen, honey, she ain't thinking positive thoughts all day long. But Lacey Phillips' mode of manifestation really believes that we manifest from our subconscious and our internal sense of self-worth. And she leverages neuroscience with psychology, with energetics to help people reprogram their subconscious minds. And I have found that her work parallels so beautifully with the work that I do with my clients. And so I help my clients reprogram their subconscious minds through brain spotting and also mantras and journaling and affirmations and intention and all of that. But anyways, I go through the To Be Magnetic workshops to reprogram my subconscious mind. And I've been doing that for over a year now. And I really have seen some beautiful benefits to uprooting and upgrading outdated beliefs that hold me back from believing in myself and seeing what's possible. Also in regulating the nervous system. So Lacey is really hot on that, and she's brought on a therapist, an EMDR specialist, to help people learn how to regulate. So her podcast is a great free resource, but I'm also a member of her community and I do her work, and it parallels beautifully with all the other therapies and treatments and modalities that I've invested in for my own personal healing and development, and also pairs really well with the work that clients do with me. So right now they're doing a Finding Your Magnetic Self challenge. And I am all about that, honey. I am. She's created something called the Deep Imagining, which is basically a hypnotic experience that helps you get deep into that subconscious brain to reprogram memories that created these beliefs that you're not enough, and to overwrite them with new ones that are healthy. So love that work. Been doing that for over a year, and I'm still doing it right now. And then last but not least, number 10 on my list of tools in my tool belt are therapy. So I have seen lots of different therapists in my lifetime for different things. I had eating disorder therapy when I was younger, starting at like 15 or 14. And then I saw a different eating disorder specialist after I had my son when I was in my 20s. I've done brain spotting. I've done talk therapy. I've done cognitive behavioral therapy. And now I'm actually looking at what the next leg of my journey is going to be. And I'm real curious about either doing some more brain spotting, doing some EMDR, doing some internal family systems work. I've really been loving that lately, or getting into some psychoanalytical work. And so I'm currently researching those 4 modalities. And I also believe that the right healers come at the right time. So I'm setting the intention and I'm doing the research, and I'm going to see which doors open, and I'm going to walk through it. And I'm going to get back into therapy and just start the next leg of the journey, because I fucking love therapy. Okay, guys, everybody needs a good therapist. And that's why I'm a therapist. That's why we offer therapy in my practice. But I'm also a client, and have been since I was a teenager, off and on, and looking forward to getting back into, with, the older that you get and the more therapy that you go through, you kind of learn like, oh, I don't just need a generalist to do talk therapy with. I need this specific specialist for these specific things that are coming up. But that means there's been some evolution. And so while a generalist in talk therapy is a beautiful entry point, a necessary entry point into the process, and there is a beautiful place for that in the healing arts. And I'm so glad that we have that in the world. The further down the healing journey and road you get, you do realize, wow, like I need to heal trauma and regulate my nervous system and reprogram my subconscious mind. And I really want to understand all my parts. And, and then you can kind of go out there and find the right partner for you. But I do believe the right books, the right podcast episode, the right healers, the right modalities fall into our lap right when we need them most. Like brain spotting fell into my lap after having Chloe, and I was suicidal. And I didn't even know what brain spotting was. And I reached out to an EMDR therapist, and she was like, I don't do EMDR anymore. I only do brain spotting, but I'm actually running a research study on postpartum depression and anxiety and OCD and things like that with brain spotting. Would you want to be part of it? And I was like, fuck yes, sign me up. And it's literally worked me out of that so quick. It was unbelievable. And that's when I knew I had to learn how to be a provider of brain spotting, because I could not believe the results I was getting so quick. So anywho-ha, the right healing modalities, they present themselves when we need them most. And so I am certain that I will choose a new modality of therapy and find the right therapist and continue on my journey. Because listen, friends, I might be a therapist, I might be a healing professional, but I am never fully arrived. I am always going to be a student. I'm always going to use my personal struggles as the example, right? I'm always going to be a work in progress, and I'm going to say that shit out loud proudly. I don't have to be perfect to be a therapist. I don't have to be perfect to be a mom. I don't have to be perfect to be a wife. Bitch, I'm a mess, and I still show up and do important work in the world and raise my family the best way I know how. But I'm going to keep working on myself because I deserve that, and I want you to know that you do too. So, in summary, these were 10 tools in my toolbox that I'm using right now to help me with my mental health. I hope you found one or two that resonate with you, that you're curious about, and that you want to layer into your mix. Pick one or two, try them for 30 days, honey, and see the benefits before and after. If you already have some good tools in your tool belt, layer in one or two that you learned here today. Write these tools down. Keep adding as you learn from this podcast. I'm always going to be sharing with you guys the latest and the greatest that I'm learning and trying, and take ones off that are no longer resonating or serving you. Find the mix that works for you, because you are worth it, mama. When we take care of ourselves, we have a better shot at taking care of our families and all the things that matter most to us. We break generational cycles and patterns of trauma. We regulate our nervous system. We can be present. And it's in that place of presence that real magic does exist. We don't have to feel fucking good all the time, mama, but we do have to work at it. Our mental health is just as important as our physical health. If you have to focus on your physical health, start with looking at your brain. Everything we've talked about today is to help your brain and your body. So take something that resonates, leave the rest. It's not to overwhelm you, it's to serve you, because you are worthy of all of this. Okay, mama, that's it for today. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Take care of yourselves and there for each other. And I'll see y'all same time, same place next week. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Unperfected Pod. I hope this episode helped you feel a little less alone and a little more inspired to be you. If you like what we're doing here, I would so appreciate that you subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. If you do, share the episode on Instagram and tag me at Brooke Jean Unperfected to enter to win a 1-to-1 laser coaching session. Also, feel free to join me in my private Facebook community, Mommy's Mental Health Matters, where we continue the conversation. Thanks again for being here, and see you in next week's episode.